Hey everybody, David G here with the Internet Marketing Party, and I'm really pleased to bring you a cool impromptu interview between Michael Drew, the old guy on the camp, the old school guy. Yeah, this is
Traditional guy.
Traditional guy. I think you're actually older than him.
It's possible.
Right?
I'm 35.
I'm 33.
There you go.
Yeah, so when I said the old guy, I meant the old bull, the traditional. You've got 67 out of 67.
73 out of 73.
73 out of 73.
I keep hearing the sound of digging right now.
Best-selling. he's promoted 73 out of 73 books to best-selling author status. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And on this
And
side,
that's totally old school.
in the red corner, and in the black and gray corner, we've got our speakers for the Internet Marketing Party this month, Hollis and Jonny Andrews. The new bulls, the young calves. And you've gotten how many out of how many to the bestseller status?
It's somewhere in the 30s. I actually stopped counting when it became fun.
Right.
I was like, this is great. Point.
So the difference, though, is that yours have all been digital,
Mm-hmm.
and yours have all been physical books, right?
Physical books,
Like
correct.
that are at Barnes and Noble and
Yep.
Borders. Is Borders still around?
Borders is not around.
Not around. So if Borders was still
Books
around,
a Million
it'd be out there.
Watsons.
Books a Million, all the
Partly why we're having this conversation.
Right.
We're all here today.
So when I was interviewing both of you, I thought to myself, because I'm friends with Michael, and he's been on our stage, and I thought to myself, what a cool dynamic is to bring these two together and have you grill them and ask them some questions that you, the audience, might go, why should we believe these guys when this guy is proven? So
Cool. So, what I'd love to better understand is why did you guys get into publishing?
That's a good.
I'll take this one. This is fun. So I got into this one because I've been doing, the direct response marketing for quite some time, and wound up having myself a little baby. And I've been looking at it. It was fun. I always created great products, but I didn't really like how the sales had to happen. Like, I'm not a big fan of like that whole, buy now or your eyeballs are gonna blow up kind of thing. And so one day it kind of occurred to me. It's like, how is my daughter going to present what I do at career day? And it kind of got stuck in my head. And it's like, hi, this is my dad. His sites look real scammy, but he sells good stuff. It helps people. You make your own decisions.
So you would want her to say douchebag marketing?
Right, exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I need to change something up. And well, I've been writing my entire life.
what'd you get your degree in?
English composition and analysis. Hey, so I've been doing that. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll get back into this thing. And so, when the Amazon Kindle first came out, I was kind of like, all right, let's see what's up with that. And so I, had part of my business I just invested in testing that to see what happened. I did not pay attention to it for years. And then about midway through 2010, I kind of lifted up the pot, like having this crock pot going for quite a while at that point. Look at this shriveled piece of meat, and I'm like, oh god. So I kind of picked it apart. I'm like, wow, there's some tasty victuals still left in here. So I got back in there, pulled the data out, started looking at it, was like, I think we've got something here. And so, fast forward till today, kind of what my, as we call it, stupid human trick is the I like to call it
Nothing ping pong sales.
exactly nothing ping pong or anything like that. But it's ecosystem deconstruction. So I'm able to go into an environment and within a fairly quick amount of time figure out how all of that stuff works together. And so I did that in Amazon. I took the data that I had over the course of the years and also started publishing new books and testing and tweaking and trying things. And after a while, I just nailed it. And there's actually a cool screenshot. Hopefully I brought it with me, but Stephen King just launched a new book, and my book is sitting right on top of his. So I held it for all of 5 hours. So I was like, woohoo!
And he definitely got it. And it was pretty interesting to see the transition. And it was a few years ago, we were actually at a wedding, sitting around the fire, and he told me what he was doing. And I was like, man, just keeping a loop on how that's going. And actually, last time we were in Austin, we started talking about it. And
At an Internet Marketing Party.
yes,
Yeah.
an internet marketing party.
Yeah.
And that's actually what this business was for. And we actually kind of came together, and I was in so much space doing direct marketing, and other than I love sitting really close to people on couches and doing interviews all the time,
Which is awesome.
is I wanted to get out of that space as well, but I've always been big into lifestyle design, and I was like, well, I'm on this kick of just learning from the smartest people in the world. How can I do that and actually have them pay me to do it? And turns out Jonny knew the systems very well, and he could do that, and I could help focus on the other parts of growing the company and doing that. And it just seemed to work out extremely well. And there's some predictions about what are going to happen. We've heard, people trying to change the educational system and all the information we get. And right now, we have such a wide variety of information that we can get. And that's why we're mostly in the nonfiction space right now. But I picture kids going to school soon, having a Kindle in their backpack or an iPad, not carrying backbreaking books around and spending tons of money on it. We were talking about in college, I had a scholarship and I got book money. And it was like, $150 each.
Should have been back brace money.
Yeah, which I could have spent.
Chiropractic.
I could have spent $3.99 on all the ebooks that I needed, and I would have had enough beer money to take everyone out that evening. And
Because that's what matters.
That
Well,
really
that's what-
matters,
yeah,
and I'm just
always
having fun, and I'll
absolutely.
buy you a drink at a networking party if you tell me the story again.
Okay.
The secret password is Benjamin.
So, before we ask your second question, just a minute ago you mentioned that you deconstructed, right? And so, for those of you watching, we submit your entries below because we're going to take a book that's currently published, and he has this stupid human trick where he can deconstruct anything within 5 minutes. So he's going to
Pretty close, but yeah.
deconstruct your current publishing model.
Back to front, front to back, the back end model, the psychology behind it, the philosophy, everything down to maybe coloration.
What works, what doesn't, how to improve it, and
So we'll be doing that live on stage, so be prepared for blunt and honest reviews.
It'll be brutal.
And it'll be fun.
And we've got 6 entries so far, so get
Get 'em
it while you can. So, second question.
So, the reality is that a lot of people who are watching this video, they look at a book, whether it's a printed book or it's in a digital format, as simply a linear piece of information. What are you doing in your publishing model that is changing what a book is? Because it used to be, and I used to run into this with my best-selling clients. You lock yourself away in an ivory tower for 3 months or 3 years. You write your book, you take it to a publisher, they take it to the marketplace, get distribution, and you hope, you cross your fingers that it becomes successful. But in digital publishing, certainly we're seeing books, authors having more access to the marketplace. But as a digital publisher, you're not just a POD or a digital publisher like Kindle Direct Press. You actually do something more than that. What is a book to you, and how are you taking information or content to the next level?
That's a pretty.
What's a
Yeah,
question?
it has a lot to do
Print
with
on
demand.
demand. Print on demand. Yeah.
Print on
Okay.
demand. It's a lot to do with the ecosystem stuff,
Yeah.
like the Jonny explained. That's like where his whole benefit that we saw with this was deconstructing the existing ecosystems and building a better one. And so now we can actually.
When you say ecosystems, what does that mean?
There's it's basically like if you would look at any garden, essentially, there's going to be there's little pieces that all make it work. You have the plants, you have the bacteria, you have the dirt, you have all of these things working. Provided the 2-year-old doesn't pour gasoline on it. Not that I have any experience with this at all. That ecosystem's going to work pretty stinking well, and it'll continue. Everything grows and it's nurturing. Well, it's the exact same concept outside of that when you're in sort of a digital marketing space. There are things that work in unison. There are things, obviously, in lesser platforms that don't work as well, and so those are more like those ecosystems are not quite where they need to be. They still need to evolve into. They're right now sort of that pulsing amoebic like zygote that sort of have a little flagella sticking out there, whereas we prefer to deal with the coyotes that are fully evolved. I totally went off on a tangent.
Yeah, that
You
was
like that.
But that's kind of what the ecosystem. It means in this ecosystem that we're currently talking about is the Amazon environment in which people are acting. And
So
Yeah,
what
the
we're
3
talking
minute
about,
countdown.
what we're talking about as an
Okay.
ecosystem is the ecosystem of how people buy and consume books.
That is part of it. Yeah.
And
it's also where they discover the books. and
Yeah,
what they do after
it's
that.
the element of discovery and then consumption, because what I think would happen a lot in traditional publishing is they would look at consumption prior to discovery, and it's really a complete role reversal of that. You can't, and it's so funny because all the author forums and membership sites that I'm a part of, everyone's like, a good book is the best form of marketing. That is so not true, because if a person doesn't consume the book, they're not going to know if it's any good. So you have to discover the book, and then you have to consume it, and then it can be good marketing, because then you tell people about it. But we focus on how you discover, like what are the elements that are like imperative to that discovery. There's so many books out there.
What I like to say is I believe that a book is a beginning of a conversation.
Right.
It's not the end all be all. By default, it cannot be the end all be all. It's simply the beginning of the conversation. So if in that ecosystem of conversation, because really what you're talking about is relationship building and the ecosystem of conversation, what is it that your system does within that conversational ecosystem that traditional publishers don't?
It's the
I
conversation.
think we might be running out of, like, it has a
Are we?
time limit.
So, but to answer, we have to answer the original second question, which is how is it different than a normal book, is that we can actually figure out what the goal is of the author or the content creator and how to completely fulfill that need, whether it's to generate leads for their business, to give them the street credit of being a best-selling author, to provide passive income on something wonderful that they know and they can exist on, is that I look at it a lot like just how a Google ad, spending money to get that person to do that, that is not my book. And I can view it in a very similar form, except for I get paid by getting the lead instead of that.
And the big difference is,
The buyer,
when
not
it
the
really
lead.
comes into it, is we're already profitable.
Yeah.
Let
Let me just nutshell that one right there.
As a publisher, you're already profitable. That's awesome.
Exactly.
And on probably every one of your books too.
Yeah. And,
Which is very unique.
And then the best line I think of it all is your best-selling one. You're a bestseller because you're selling, you say it.
You're a bestseller because you're selling a lot of books, and you're selling a lot of books because you're a bestseller.
Yeah.
So it's like a catch-22, and we can knife into that and just make that happen.
That's awesome.
Positive snowball effect.
I like
Correct.
snowballs.
So
You like snowballs,
Yeah.
with an emphasis on the balls.
Yeah.
So what they're saying, if there are any traditional publishers watching, stop watching, because really what you should be doing is what they're doing.
Holy shit! Dude.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good fellas.
Yes.
Good work. And but those of you watching this presentation after the party, you'll be able to watch these guys deconstruct some poor soul's book on live on stage and
Yeah.
all the other goodness they have by going to the membership area. So, see you guys. Thank you, Michael.
See you tomorrow
Thank you,
night.
Hollis. Thank
Yeah.
you, Johnny.
Cool.
Thank you, Mercer, behind the camera. And thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Yay.